Hey everyone, it's Don, Captain Cross Stitch here again for your monthly dose of cross stitch goodness and other fun things as I see fit. Today is June 30th, so this is the June wrap up and um, flash forward look at July and beyond. This is my number 9 video. I thought it was going to be 10, but I'm glad I checked it to see that I got the numbering correct. So let's get started. Today's episode unofficially brought to you by the fine makers of Coca-Cola, my favorite drink. One of them, anyway. And I'm always a sucker for unique and weird snacks. And I found these the other day. So Cheetos has come out with a salsa con queso flavor, which the name intrigued me because, cheese, queso, and salsa and queso together is pretty good. But I was kind of wary that it might be too hot because if you, at least in my area, it seems like everything has got a hot version. Hot this, melt your face, hot that. And I can't stand that. It's just, when it reaches a certain level of hotness, it ceases to taste good anymore to me, at least. Maybe it's just my getting older, change of taste and all that good stuff. But anyway, that's really good. It's like just enough hot that you can taste it, but the flavor is really, really good. So they did an excellent job with those. All right, so it's only been a couple of weeks since my last video because when I posted video number 8, I was playing catch up from my being in the hospital, from having burned my feet. Just a brief update on that. I am healing at a decent pace. The podiatrist that I'm seeing at the wound care clinic is happy with my progress, so I was seeing him every week. Now I'm moving to a bi-weekly schedule, so I guess things are looking good. I'm hoping they got me wearing these weird shoes to help facilitate healing. So I hope to be out of those hopefully by the end of the month, I hope, because they're awkward and not comfortable. Anyway, on to stitchy stuff. So, got my trusty almanac here, month of June. So, with my being laid up in the hospital, and they want me to have my feet propped up as much as I can. I'm not supposed to be on them as much as possible. So in doing that, I don't have the setup here to where I can stitch in my recliner. I don't have a Lowry stand or anything like that. And so I do stitch, don't get me wrong, but my time is a bit more limited than it usually is. So my almanac, even though I had written down I was going to do a bunch of different projects worked on this month, I only did a few. So there is a whole lot new to report just in the last few weeks. But this was my June calendar. So I had my bird project, because I had a couple of bird projects, and then this was representing my Bella Filipina start that I had this past month, which you all saw in my last video. So I'm not going to repeat that. Got some dragon heads there for my dragon project. And then just some other crazy stuff going on. So I did a few stickers for June this morning. Not a whole lot. I wanted to leave it open to see what I actually end up working on this coming month. Got a ladybug, a feather for my bird project, a summertime bee, just summer, a woman in some kind of weird flower get up, and my peacock project that you'll see. I'll show you my progress on that. But, there'll be room for additional stickers as time goes on. Alright, so my whips for the last couple of weeks, like I said, there weren't that many that I worked on, but I was happy with what I did. So we're going to start off with the my project called Hunter Gatherer from Rosewood Manor. That's what the finished product looks like. So I'm doing this corner right now. This looks like a home plate shape. So that's what I'm working on currently. And it's I'm just about done that area. See, you can see I'm filling in this area down here right now, and then I got the same area up here to do. This is pretty much off. There's a couple of spotty stitches up in here still left to do, but I'm pretty much down here. And then the plan is, once I finish that upper left corner, that I'm gonna just work my way straight across on the motifs that are, that take me to the opposite side of the fabric. And then I'll work my way down. So I'm gonna go across and then just kind of slowly work my way down the rest of the piece until it's done. The next thing that I worked on was my Celestial Dragon by Joan Elliott. Celestial Moon Dragon, I should say. And this is what the finished piece will look like. So colorful. This picture, even this picture, doesn't do it justice. I think mine looks a lot more colorful, and the fabric looks even better. So. This is the section I'm working on now. I'm working on the main body, below the wings. So I'm filling in all of this area right now, and then I plan working my way back up into the neck of the dragon, and then I'll go on up and into the head area, which I've got some of that up here. It's a lot of color changes, so it takes a little more time than just filling in, but I think it's gorgeous. I can't wait to the day I'm done this sucker, because it's gonna look so cool. And the only other major piece that I worked on was my Royal Peacock from Dimensions. And that's what the finished piece looks like. So you can see, it's going to be really gorgeous when it's done. And this is what I've got done. So I finished all this blue along the edge here, and this part of his face, the beak, and then I'm filling in this area here. This is all blended threads, so it's two different colors blended in, and you can kind of see it's basically this darker blue and this lighter blue mixed together to make a good blend. It looks really good. Sorry. It's always super cold in my basement, so I've got a hoodie on. I've got a beanie with my D20 Dungeons and Dragons die on it. A group of guys I play with on a semi-regular basis bought me this for my birthday a year and a half ago, so I wear it all winter long, and even sometimes in my basement. In case you didn't know, I'm a big nerd. I play D&D. You can see some of my miniatures in the back there, and a big map of the Forgotten Realms on the wall. There'll be more about that later, perhaps. So that was my limited whip works that I've worked on the last couple of weeks. So moving forward, July. So you saw my Stitcher's Almanac. What plans do I have for July? Well, so I'd like to continue those 3 projects I just showed you for sure. In addition to that, the other 2 projects that I showed you in my previous video, number 8, the Bella Filipina Bellatrix start that I had, I want to continue on that. Also, the Cottage Garden Samplings Symphony of Friendship that I started, I want to continue that as well. So that's 5 projects right there that I want to touch in July. So it's going to be a busy month. So we've got about 4.5 weeks worth of days for July. So not sure how many more I could squeeze in. I mean, I always think I could do more than I actually end up doing. So, but I am going to say I am going to have at least one new start, and it's a small, so it's not any big deal really. But in celebration of our Independence Day coming up this week, and I hope many of you will celebrate in whatever manner you see fit. And hopefully you might even get that Friday off as well. And my wife has both Thursday and Friday off, the lucky woman. But so in celebration of our Independence Day, I'm going to start a new project called Founding Promises. It's from Silver Creek Samplers, and this is what it looks like. It's simple, colorful, small. It's not even a 10 by 10 space with a 2-inch border, so not very big, limited handful of colors. I'm going to be doing it on a what count? 14. That's right, Mr. 14 count right here. This is the color I'm going to be putting on. This is a 14 count Ada called Snickerdoodle from Grace Notes Fabric, my favorite company. And it's nice and soft. It doesn't have, this isn't a heavily variegated or not variegated, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't remember. Modeled. Yeah, it's not a heavily modeled design. It's not even, it's barely any modeling at all, actually, but it's a beautiful color. Snickerdoodle. And so yeah, I'm looking forward to starting that one day. I'm going to actually start that on July 4th. So that's my only guaranteed new start. But there is the potential for maybe one new start, and I'll get to that in a minute. All right, so what else have we got? So in about 6 weeks, we'll be in the second week of August, and that's when the Grace Notes Fabrics retreat for 2024 will be held. It's July 11th, I think, is the date. I thought it was earlier, but somehow. Anyway, it's that second Thursday of the month, running through that Sunday. I'm really looking forward to that. I can't wait. It'll get here. I know, but be come and gone before I know it. But again, I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing all of my table mates from last year. Tiffany, Dana, Allie, Anna, Trudy, and Cindy. We only had 7 at our table for some reason last year. I guess we had one open spot. But looking forward to seeing them, and all of the fine people at Grace Notes Fabrics, Corinne and John, and family, and of course all of their wonderful helpers, fellow YouTubers or Floss tubers. Hannah Dowling will be there. Allie Z is Crafty will be there. She's one of my table mates. And some other people. I'm sure I'm sure I'm leaving somebody out, but as I get more and more closely involved with people, I'll remember more names, I'm sure. But looking forward to that. I'm spending lots of money on fabric, I know that. In other retreat news, so Queen City Stitchers have announced their 2025 retreats. That's retreats plural. They're going to have their inaugural launch of their summer retreat, their Chatelaine retreat, which Sign-ups begin for that to begin tomorrow, July 1st, and you have 24 hours to throw your name into the hat to potentially get picked. It's a very limited event. There's 48 spots, and as they always do with all of their retreats, it's not first come first serve. It's a lottery system. So first, they give everyone 24 hours to put their name into the pot to be considered. Then they randomly pick those people for the initial round, and then if all those people picked commit to their spot, and I guess they have a certain amount of time to pay for it, then that's it. It's a closed event at that point. But if for some reason after that initial round they don't fill all the spots, they'll open it up again to anyone that's still interested, I guess, to fill those remaining spots. And then I imagine they may do a second round of lottery to, give people a chance at whatever spots might still remain. But anyway, so tomorrow is the sign up for the Chatelaine retreat for July of 2025. Then January 1st, this coming year, the draft will open up for the fall retreat in October 2025, and they are going to have Nora Corbett again. She's going to return to their retreat. This year's fall retreat, their guest of honor is Autumn Lane Stitchery. So their inaugural one was Nora Corbett last fall. This year, 2024, is Autumn Lane Stitchery, and then 2025, Nora Corbett returns. So they're both in Charlotte, North Carolina. I would love to go to both, but the timing is too difficult for me to try for the Chatelaine retreat next year. But I am going to take a shot at getting into the fall retreat. So I'll update you on that next year when that happens. So there you go. So if you're interested, they're on Instagram. It's Maggie, aka Kitschy Whips, and Amy, Fiber Arts Amy. They're the two that run the events, and their event is known as Queen City Stitchers. They're on Facebook. Just search for Queen City Stitchers, and you should be able to find them there. And they have a page on Facebook with all the information you could possibly want. And check them out. The Grace Notes retreat, I think, as of when I read something yesterday, they still had a couple of spots available, but I would check to be sure if you are interested. It's held in Allentown, Pennsylvania. So, if you're on the East Coast or you have the ability to travel, it's a great retreat, the best I've ever been to so far. They've bumped up the number of attendees this year, so it should be not too out of control, but it's definitely a lot more people than last year. And we have a new hotel, same city, but it's being held in a different hotel. Marriott Delta, I think, is the hotel this year. So check it out. They're on Facebook, and just look up Grace Notes Retreat, and maybe they still have a spot for you. So check them out. Okay, enough of that. Enough retreat information. Let's get to some haul. Much like the last couple of videos, I think, definitely last month, I don't have much haul because I'm saving my money and trying to pay some stuff off. Since my last video, not only did I have burnt feet, but our car died. We had a 2012 Prius, which we bought used from my wife's sister, and it served us well for a good for a good 7 or 8 years. So I can't complain, considering we got it for a pretty good deal. But the time has come. We purchased a new used vehicle because we don't have gobs of money like some people. So we're not paying a huge car payment. We do have a new car payment, which we haven't had one in a long time. But so we do have a car payment, and it's for 5 years and 3 months. But we just kind of have to tighten the belt and be a bit more careful about how we throw our money around. So we bought a 2016 Chevy Equinox, and it's the same model, style, color, everything as the one I had pre-COVID. I used to have a 2012 Chevy Equinox, which I really liked. It just had a couple of minor flaws. So hopefully this one is even better, since it's a newer model, and it has more bells and whistles than mine had. But so far it's pretty nice. At least it's a bigger vehicle. We can haul a little more stuff around than we were previously able, and that kind of thing. So, okay, haul. I don't know how I got onto the car. Oh yeah, so that's another reason why I'm not spending nearly as much money anymore. Okay, so I do have a subscription to Just Cross Stitch magazine, and at the beginning of 2024, they changed their subscription model from what was it? It was 6 issues a year, and the issues were smaller, and they would send you their bonus issues, the Halloween and Christmas ornament issues. But they changed it, so now they have 6 issues a year period, but they're bigger. And the 6 issues, the regular issues, are now quarterly, not bi-monthly. And your 6 issues a year now includes so you're only getting 6 issues essentially instead of 8. But the 6 issues include they still are including the Halloween and Christmas issues. So anyway, this year's Halloween 2024 special collector's issue Halloween cross stitch ornament issue arrived in the mail. Not that I care too much about you seeing my address, but it is printed on there. So anyway, so that showed up sometime in the last couple of weeks. It seems like they've upped their game a little bit from what I can remember. Most of the time I was, moderately impressed with the ornaments. So I don't know if it's, people were just getting better at making designs or what, but these seem to be, there's some really, really good ones in here. So there's actually one in particular that I think I may even try and do, not as an ornament, just as a display piece of some kind. So that came out. And then actually my only purchases actually just arrived in the mail yesterday, which I was hoping it would get here. I ordered it kind of late last week, and they're usually like 4 days to get something when you ship it, when you order something from 123 Stitch. All right, so excuse me. So I had mentioned my table mates from the Grace Notes retreat, and I'm hoping to sit with them again this year. But I'm also way more than willing to meet with new people if that's how it turns out, because there's no assigned seating, so it's first come, first serve. So I think most people are going to try and sit together with the people they sat with last year, and that'll be awesome as well. But I always like meeting new people. Man, it's cold in here. My nose is running. But anyway, so my table mates from last year, we have decided we're gonna try our hand at a round robin for beginning this year's retreat, and then pass it around, during the course of the year that passes between then and the 2025 retreat. So we have decided that we're going to work on, we each pick our choice of a Quaker design from Primrose Cottage. They have a series of Quaker inspired designs, and Lindsay Waite is the designer. I'm guessing on all of these. I'm not sure exactly if she's done them all, and I only purchased 2 of them, and she's done both of them, so I'm guessing they're all from her. But Primrose Cottage is the company. So I picked Patriotic Quaker as one of them. I think that's very pretty, and I love the colors. And then the other one I bought just to give myself, because I don't know who's doing what, and we may duplicate, and so hopefully we'll have enough variation between the 7 of us that nobody will duplicate. But if we don't, we'll figure it out. Then the other one I got is Honeybee Quaker. Cute design, and again the color scheme is well balanced. So I'll be taking those with me to retreat, which when next month's video comes out, it'll be me packing, deciding what to pack for retreat. So that'll be part of my video. Maybe I'll be like, I'm packing, I can't wait, it's a week away. Alright, so next in my haul is the next in the Fabulous House series, number 5 from Cottage Garden Samplings. This is the Hobbit House. It's a little Hobbit house. Alright, next up, this is me just kind of gobbling up as a collector stuff by Marilyn Levitt Emblem. That's Nora Corbett's mom, in case you didn't know. Founder of Lavender and Lace, and then some other design companies. But this is called Angel of Healing. So someday I hope to start one of her designs, but I haven't decided on anything yet. And building up my collection of Bella Filipinas, this is the Ascent of the Moth Queen, design number 28. It's beautiful color and design. And then I picked up the actually part 1 of the 2-part series from Mirabilia's tandem designs. This is called The Baker's Wife. I had shown the other design, I forget what it's called, but it was number 2 of 2 in this design. They're kind of a set, 2 different designs that go together, so I'm not sure if I will do them individually or maybe do them side by side, or I'm not sure how I'll end up doing that if and when I do them. So, but at least I have the set now. So a new designer that I showed in my last video, Kathy Barrick. I'm kind of intrigued by her designs. They're like kind of a whimsical, abstract style. I don't know how else to put it. But something about them is very appealing to me for some reason. So this is my second design. The first one I bought was, I think it was called the Winter Moth, which I showed in my last video. This one is called Thomas. I'm not sure why, but I just like it. I love the colors, and then I like the butterfly and that kind of, like I said, sort of whimsical. It's just a unique style. I'm not really sure what you would consider calling that, but maybe there's a term for it within the industry. I'm not sure. And then just continuing to gobble up any Joan Elliott design. And there's a ton of them. This one is called the Butterfly Fairy. But I have a ton of her things on my wish list with 123 Stitch, so just like Mirabilia and Lavender and Lace and Bella Filipina, every time I place an order, I pick up one new design. So slowly eating away at that wish list. But it seems like every time I find a new designer I like, I end up blowing it back up again. So, but anyway, so that's my haul. like I said, not a whole lot. So what else do we got? Anything else going forward? I think that's pretty much it. Oh no, wait a minute. I forgot one important thing. So I got a comment on, so a newcomer video subscriber. I'm not going to mention them at this point, but maybe at some point I will. But a newcomer, they said somehow YouTube introduced them to me in some fashion. I'm not sure how, but they found me, and they watched my first video, and they said a lot of very nice things about it, and I'm very touched by what she said. But she also made me think about how, from my first video to now this number 9 video in such a short time, really just 9 or 10 months, I guess it's been since I started doing these, said some interesting things about, what was how I did things, at least in those first couple of videos, and then she said she would binge watch the rest of my videos, and I was like, well, I hope she doesn't get too disappointed, because I kind of had evolved away from that a little bit. And so it made me think, well, maybe I just either got lazy with it, or maybe, I felt like I need to concentrate on just one thing and not too many things, and, that kind of stuff. But one of the things she really liked was how I, at least in my first few videos, when I was choosing projects to work on, that I was using a 20-sided die. I think is that a tetra-dodecahedron, something like that? I forget the technical term for it. But, and I really enjoyed that. But it was, I think I was trying to do it on too massive of a scale. Because some of my other friends and fellow Floss tubers, they put all of their whips on like a roulette wheel kind of thing, and it would, on their phone or whatever, digital, and they would spin it, and they would pick a project to work on from that. So I thought, I had a pretty unique way of doing it at the time. And so I felt like I wasn't enjoying it as much, because it was almost like I was forcing myself to work on things I didn't necessarily want to work on. I try to keep things fresh, but I also want to feel motivated. I really want to work on something. When I work on something and I've been sitting here for 3 hours working on it, and I'm like, oh crap, I got to go to bed. I got to go to work tomorrow, and I was like, oh, I wish I could stay up 2 more hours, kind of thing. So it's that kind of drive, something that drives me. So in finding that perfect balance, I kind of have been doing that. I've kind of just been, well, here's the handful of projects, however many that might be, that I really have a strong desire to work on. And then, up and coming new projects, I have some of those that I've started, and I'm trying to work them into that, excited rotation. But, I don't want to forget about the box full of whips things I've started that, are just kind of collecting dust, so to speak. So I've decided that I'm going to try something new by using that former method. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to say once a month, one project is going to get worked on that is not in my current rotation, so that those island of misfit whips do get some attention. And who knows, maybe it'll revitalize my interest in one of those projects when I do work on them. So in addition to the things I have been working on and any new potential new starts, like the patriotic one, the Founding Fathers one that I showed you earlier, I'm gonna add one additional project, assuming I have the time. I mean, I'm not gonna force it. But I'm gonna go back to that former selection method, but I'm going to keep the scope of it much smaller. So I'm going to pick 6 projects instead of 20. So I'm going to use a standard 6-sided die, a cube, and to select that bonus item, potential bonus item. It's not guaranteed, but if I find I want to work on something else and don't have a desire to work on other things that I have currently going, this is where I'm going to turn to. So for the month of July, my 6 choices are as follows. And I'm not going to pull these out because it's a pain in the butt. But they've all been shown in previous videos, and one actually has been a fairly common recent project, and I'll tell you that in a second. So my six choices for the 6 sides of my die are the Palestinian tiles, my quilt tiles, which is series number 2 in a series of 6, the unicorn mandala, the stegosaurus piece that I had been working on, and the more recent key to my heart, that was the red monochrome variegated floss one that I've featured quite a bit in recent videos. And then the number 6 on the die will be a new start of my choice, something new. So there we go. Those are my 6 choices. So let's see what the die is gonna say is gonna be your potential bonus project. Okay, so I rolled a 1. So the bonus project for July is gonna be the Palestinian tiles. All right, so there you have it. And then so in my next video, assuming I've worked on that, you'll see that shown in my next video, and you'll see the progress and everything that I've done on it. And actually, was kind of hoping I would get that one, because I really like the colors and the fabric, and because the fabric in that is a opalescent fabric, so it's got some sparkly threads woven into the fabric. But yeah, so looking forward to that. All right. So thank you for that new subscriber and watcher. I'll give out their names next time. I just forgot to write it down, so I feel like adult for doing that. But she knows who she is, and after she watches this video, thank you so much for your input and your continued watching. So that's all I have for stitching related stuff. So if that's all you're here for, you can say goodbye until next video. But I do have some non-stitchy goodness that I'd like to talk about. For those of you who are interested, as you know, I'm a big nerd, as I said. So I'm into comics and video games and role-playing games and games in general, you know, tabletop games and card games. So, you know, if any of that's your jam, you know, I hope you'll stick around. But if not, I'll see you all next time. So what do we got going on? So, you know, I'm an older guy. I'm 57. So, you know, I don't know. I mean, my generation was kind of the generation of the invention of video games. So, you know, I guess it stands to reason. You know, basically Atari 2600 was, you know, the hot commodity of when I was, you know, 12 years old, 13, whatever. So, you know, I've grown up with all the systems, and I still play, you know, stuff now, not as much as I'd like to, or that I had the patience for, or my hands and wrists will allow me to, because, you know, too much gaming makes my wrists hurt. But I have been playing a bit lately. It seems like some franchises have, you know, kind of blown off the dust, or they're just continuing to put out the next iteration of their IP, whatever that is. So what I've been playing, so for the past month, I've been playing, well, the new season of Diablo 4 kicked off, and I think it's, as much as I enjoyed the last one, the season of the Construct, which I thought was to that point in time was their best new season, in my opinion. This new season is even better. So much so that my newest character, and I've played a different character each season so far, so I've played 5 different characters. So the only one remaining that I hadn't played was the Barbarian, which I've never been fond of barbarian characters in D&D or anywhere else for that matter. So, you know, I was kind of like, I was kind of doing it just to say, well, I've tried every other one, let me try this one and get it over with. But I'm really, really enjoying it. The build that I've came up with has me generating a lot of Dust Devils, and I've actually made it the furthest I've made it in level than any of my previous characters from the game's launch back last year. So I'm in the I think level 72 now. I think that's where I'm at. And you know, they've figured a lot of things out from the beginnings. So I'm happy to see that they're willing to evolve the game, which is what they should be doing, because otherwise, you're just putting out garbage and saying, oh, well, we're not going to do anything to make it better. We got your money. That's all we wanted. No, they looks like they listen and they learn, and So I'm very happy with the game right now. Um, I've also been playing the final shape of Destiny 2, which I really I had gotten out of Destiny 2 for a while because, well, quite frankly, all of my friends quit playing, and the game is really more fun with your fire team of three, and plus a lot of content is really designed for multiplayer, and there's a lot of multiplayer you can't do solo, which is a shame because that's where the best stuff is. But that's one thing I feel like they've never learned is like they're almost punishing the solo player, and I wish they would come up with ways for somebody who can't, for whatever reason, doesn't matter, that they have to play solo, that they should have access to certain things that they wouldn't ordinarily be able to, because it's only built for teams of 3 or 6 or however many. But so those are the main two. Xbox, and I have the older generation of Xbox. I have the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, so I haven't upgraded yet, although I would imagine it's only a matter of time till they're going to force me to, because they're going to stop making games for my generation. But the Xbox had their showcase the beginning of June, showing up and coming releases for the next year, and things that were about to come out. And of course, the big announcement was Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which I do like all the Call of Duty games. They're a lot of fun, but I wasn't really sure what to expect, to be honest, because it's each subsequent version, it seems like it's like more and more cinematic style. It's almost like, well, it's less open world than it's almost like they want you to have this movie-like experience, but I worry that it's almost becoming like, well, you have to do this, and you don't get a lot of variation. And to some degree, that's true. I mean, you still have choices to make, and your play style does affect how things occur. So I guess it's still a fun game. But anyway, so I was like, I should go back and play some of those older ones, because while I had bought them, or I had bought some of them, I had never gotten around to playing them. And so I was like, oh, let me see how far back do I have to go. So I looked at, so actually the last one I bought of Call of Duty Black Ops was actually number 3. So I was way behind. I hadn't even bought the last 2, 4 or 5. So I went to my local GameStop and was hoping to pick up those 2 on the cheap. Much to my surprise, they didn't have a single copy of either one. So I'm not sure why that is. Nobody wants to give those games up for whatever reason. I don't know. So at some point I'll track them down on eBay or something. But I was like, well, I have 3. Let me bust that open. So I broke it out of the plastic wrap and plugged it in and went to town. So it was pretty enjoyable. The storyline was interesting enough, and the missions, the environments are fabulous. Let me tell you, I will give them that. I mean, some of the stuff you go through is definitely like a movie. You know, I mean, it's a little crazy. It gets, some of it's so over the top crazy that I'm like, yeah, this is like a really high budget kind of cheesy movie. Granted, great special effects, but kind of ridiculous at the same time. But you know, what are you gonna do? But it was fun, and you know, some missions were somewhat challenging. You know, and I always play on, since I'm an older, slower player. I always play on the most forgiving, easy mode possible, just because, you know, I hate being frustrated. I just want to play to experience the game, not to master it. So, but anyway, so I played quite a bit of that. I didn't finish it, but you know, it's in progress. It's currently in my disk drive on the Xbox. So going forward, new releases that are coming. From the showcase, there was surprisingly quite a fair amount of really interesting looking stuff. I'm not sure how much of it I'll actually try to play. They actually had an Indiana Jones game coming out that looks really cool. Kind of like a, you know, like a Lara Croft style kind of game, you know. I don't know who's making it. I don't know if they said who the designer was, but you know, it has that style, you know, and Indiana Jones, how can you go wrong, right? So that looked really good. They got some new Doom game, which I've never played a single Doom game, and that's pretty sad, I guess, considering I'm an old school gamer. But I've just I don't know. It's one of those things that's always escaped me. I guess because for the longest time it was a PC only, so that's probably why. You know. But anyway, they have some kind of Doom game where they go somehow the characters in the Dark Ages, and it looked pretty interesting. I'm not sure how good it is, you know, because it seemed kind of weird. Just over an hour on this video already. But the one that I've known about for a while is the new Assassin's Creed game. Now, I know when they first announced that, there was the typical internet hullabaloo. I was like, oh, this is not historically accurate. You know, it's a friggin' game, okay? Get over it. No video game is historically accurate. Even the ones about historical events are not historically accurate. So get over it. That being said, the video, because I had not really seen much in the way of video for this upcoming Assassin's Creed Shadows, I think it's called. It looks really cool. And Ubisoft, I'm a big fan of Ubisoft. They do so much that I love, aside from Assassin's Creed, you know, with the Tom Clancy stuff. God, I wish they would bring back what was the Splinter Cell. I wish they would bring that back. Why are they sitting on that? I don't know. I'm assuming that somebody has got to be working on that. It's just got to be. But anyway, yeah, so I love Ubisoft. I love all their stuff that they do. So I'm looking forward to playing that. That's a good setting for the style of game, Assassin's Creed game that they put out. Um, so that's about it for video games. So what else do I got going on? It's been a busy month for me for reading, or at least buying stuff to read. Hold on a second. Okay. Had to grab a pile of books. Pile of books. So, yeah, I went to the bookstore last weekend, and I hadn't planned on it, but I had to go in there for something, and I was like, well, once I get in there, I got to walk around and look at stuff. So, anyway, so this book series that I was interested in, I had already bought the first 2 books in the series, and I saw that book 3 was out. So I was like, all right, I'll get that. And it was the 3rd and final book in the series, so I was like, I really should probably read those. So the series is from science fiction author by the name of Megan E. O'Keefe. And I don't know if you're familiar with her, but she did she, I guess, kind of got her break into, major, I don't know, success. Let's just say her first trilogy was a success. It was called the Protectorate series, which was 3 novels called Velocity Weapon, Chaos Vector, and Catalyst Gate, which I own, and I haven't read them. I'm terrible. But the weird thing was, so she has the new series that just finished called The Devoured Worlds. Based on what I read about it, seemed like it'd be more interesting to me. But I am going to go back and read the other trilogy as well. But it didn't dawn on me that they were the same author. Because like I said, I owned the other trilogy, and they're sitting in a pile in a room downstairs. And then I'd been buying these, and literally was almost looking at them side by side, and it still never dinged in my brain that it was the same author. So anyway, so book 3 of this. So this series is called Devoured Worlds trilogy, and the first book is called The Blighted Stars. And I started reading it this week, and modest start, 50 pages in. It's been very cool so far, so I hope it, the initial premise is interesting. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it, but the initial premise is very promising. But so, like I said, it follows into 2 other books, The Fractured Dark, and then the one I just bought, which is called The Bound Worlds. So it'll take me a while. I won't. I'd be lucky if I finish the first book this year, but because I'm a slow reader. So another book I bought that same visit was make sure I have my well, anyway, I didn't realize this guy had a new book out, but the hardcover, the other one was softcover. This is book one in a new series, so I'm getting it at the right time. But the author's name is Taran Mataru. I read one of his earlier series called the Summoner series, which was, I'm not sure about this one, but his previous ones were considered more of a young adult reader, I guess, is the category. And it was kind of a more archaic kind of, just a different, kind of almost like a Harry Potter-ish, but not so cutesy as Harry Potter. I mean, I don't think he's British, so it doesn't have that feel to it, like Harry Potter has a definite British feel to it. But yeah, his Summoner series, while reminiscent of other works, I thought was very good. It was very well done, and I'm not sure, I don't know much about him personally. But anyway, this was called Dragon Rider. So I'll have to let you know if I ever read it, if it's any good or not. But I'm hopeful, because I think, like most, if he's a young novelist, which I think he is, that they grow with time and success. So I think if his initial series got some success, maybe he's moving on to more, I don't want to say adult themes, but maybe just adult style writing, because I did find this in the regular fantasy and science fiction section, so maybe that's why. And then the only other thing I bought was the newest Stephen King offering, You Like It Darker, which I believe is another collection of short stories by him. And I'm sure it'll be good. The last compilation of short stories that he put out, If It Bleeds, I actually just finished earlier this year, and it was really good. A lot of those, well, one of them was a recurring character of very popular books of his, and then one of them actually became a Netflix movie. I can't remember what, Mr. Harrigan's Phone. So it's a good movie. It has Donald Sutherland, who I'm sad to hear that he passed away this week. But yeah, he was in that, and yeah, I think, I'm not sure, what other than age-related things, because I'm guessing Donald Sutherland was fairly old. I don't really know how old he was. But the last couple of things that I saw him in, both that Mr. Harrigan's Phone and Interstellar, the movie with Matthew McConaughey, he played a character, and in each movie, those characters were in wheelchairs. So I'm wondering if it was just age, or he had some health concern that required him to be, sitting in a wheelchair. That it's sad. He was such a great actor, and from what I understand, probably a really great man otherwise. So he'll be missed. So those were my latest book purchases. One more thing. Okay, so the last other thing I have, I may have mentioned in previous videos that I used to work at a comic book store for 20 some years, and I retired from there last December, mainly due to health concerns and just I'm tired. So, I have a lot of health problems, and I just needed to rest, and I was, working 6, sometimes 7 days a week, just after all those years, is just, not having any time off and to do things I love, cross-stitching and playing D&D and whatever else I want to do, got to me. So anyway, all right, so what I'm about to talk about is comic book related stuff. So, in recent months, Marvel has relaunched their Ultimate Universe, and they I think they did a good job in giving us a reason why, which I'm not going to get into, but so far so good. I'd say, well, I'll just say out of the 3 titles that I've read so far, which would be Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate Black Panther, and Ultimate X-Men. Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, is the best of the 3. Ultimate Black Panther is really good as well. Ultimate X-Men, I just don't get it. I'm not sure what they were thinking, but in my opinion, it's just my opinion, I feel it's god-awful. So, the person writing it is also drawing it, and that whenever that occurs, I think that person has to be exceedingly good at one or the other to be able to get that job. They really need to be. Like Frank Miller's one of them, okay? He's a really good storyteller, and he's a really good artist. I'm not going to name names, but if you want to look it up, the person that's doing Ultimate X-Men right now, their art is a specific style which works, I think, for certain things. This is not one of them, and I'm not sure what their credentials are as far as writing, but they're not terribly good. I'll just leave it at that. Now, they also have an Ultimates, which is like the Ultimate Universe's version of the Avengers, which it's in my pull box at the store that I used to work at. So I haven't read that yet, but I'm thinking it's going to be pretty decent. But anyway, Ultimate Spider-Man has been really, really good. Jonathan Hickman is the writer. As far as I can turn, he walks on water as far as the writer goes. and Marco Cicchetto is the artist. He's doing a bang-up job on the Ultimate Spider-Man. Ultimate Black Panther, Brian Hill is the writer. I'm not really familiar with him, but the first issue was really, really good. So I'm looking forward to reading the rest of it. And the art's really slick on it too. Carlos Nieto or Nieto, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. He's doing a really good job. I also picked up a few trades, collected volumes of stuff. Picked up the volume 1 of the current run of Green Arrow from DC. Because Green Arrow is like one of my favorite characters from DC. So I just wanted to see where the current universe's Green Arrow is coming from, what and all that good thing. One other thing I forgot to talk about, comic related. I mean, it's all comic related, but it's current series. So, as part of, if you didn't know, Marvel Comics is owned by Disney. Disney also owns 20th Century Fox, or 20th Century Studios, let's put it that way, which is responsible for movie franchises like Aliens and Predator. So naturally, Marvel Comics puts out Aliens and Predator comic books. And they have a series, I don't know if it's still running or if it's just about to end or whatever, but I'm reading a series called What If Aliens? And it's what if because Marvel has had tons of what if comics in their history where it takes a known situation and asks a question, well, but what if this happened instead? So the premise for this series is, in the movie Aliens, Paul Reiser played a character named Carter Burke, who basically betrayed them. He was going to have Ripley and Newt get impregnated with alien embryos and shipped back to headquarters to be studied and whatever, experimented on. But they foiled that plan, and they were going to kill Carter Burke. But instead, he ran off like a coward, and in the movie, we assume, probably correctly, that he was killed by an alien xenomorph in an adjoining room that he ran into. So this comic series asks, well, what if Carter Burke had not died and he actually escapes aboard the craft that Ripley and them escaped on and got back to their spacecraft, the Sulaco, and subsequently, what happens to him. And it's an interesting take, and actually Paul Reiser is involved in the writing of the story. Now, I don't know how loose that is, like how much writing he's actually doing, or maybe he's just involved because it's his character. I'm not sure. But his name is on the cover with some other people. So, yeah, it's, so Paul and Leon Reiser. So whoever Leon is to Paul, I'm guessing maybe his son, perhaps. Not sure. But the two of them and some other people are credited with the concept, and then these two other guys are credited with the writing part of it. So who knows? And then the only other two comic-related purchases I've had, I got the Volume 1 Justice Society of America hardcover. So I am a sucker for DC's like Golden Age characters, and they've kind of been lost in limbo for a while, but Jeff Johns, who is a comic god, writer, he's kind of made them at least somewhat important to somebody again. So this is a collection of reprinting the current relaunch of those characters. So I'm looking forward to reading that. And then the last thing I had to show you is so back in I think it was the early 2000s, Marvel did a story called Planet Hulk that crossed over a bunch of different books in the Marvel Universe, where they sent Hulk into space to get rid of him, and he ended up living and surviving and thriving on a planet where he was the king, essentially. So anyway, this is the Planet Hulk Omnibus. So this collects the whole main story of Planet Hulk. So anyway, so the store that I shop at, that I used to work for, is Casey's Comics. They're in Fallston, Maryland. They just celebrated their 30th anniversary, so they're not some fly-by-night, operation that just opened up last week. That doesn't know what they're doing. The guy that runs the store, his name is Ian. He's the owner. He runs the place, and he's super knowledgeable. Anyway, so back on Free Comic Book Day, he had a pile of these omnibuses at a really good price, and so he was able to hold one for me, and I finally picked that up this past Friday. So I'm looking forward to rereading that, because I can remember that was a really good story, and it had really beautiful artwork in it. So to have it all in one volume is really nice. All right, so we're going on about a minute and a half. I'm done. So I'm going to get this video uploaded. So thank you to everyone if you stuck around to hear all the nerd stuff. I thank you. And for those of you that are tuning in for the first time, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, I thank you again for subscribing and liking, do all that. Give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not a subscriber. And I try and put out one of these videos about once a month, usually around the first Saturday of the month. But since yesterday was 2 days before the end of the month, I figured I should probably do it now instead of waiting until almost a full week into the month to get this done. So I think that's going to do it. Thank you all for staying around. Thank you for watching, and keep on stitching. Till next time, it's Captain Cross Stitch. See you later.